Viewer discretion is advised. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents. I am Amanda.
I'm Lucy.
We have a really fun one for you today. It's a gal's pick.
Happy Easter. You're welcome.
You're fucking welcome, because today we're talking about papacy crimes. And I don't mean the smear, I mean the Pope.
I say papacy. Is that gross?
Papacy probably makes more sense. It's probably my Dashhound moment happening again. You're the Catholic. I don't fucking know. I'm just following your lead.
I've only heard papacy, but, you know, both of them sound wrong.
They both sound wrong. God bless it. So I'm very excited to dive into this. I was so manic yesterday when I was texting Lucy about what she was covering and what direction I was going in. I was just going to pick like one god-awful pope, and then that took me down a rabbit hole about someone completely different, and then I was like, I'm locked in. I have to keep this. So I'm excited. I can't wait to get like a full Catholic rundown from you, our pretty little princess.
Former Catholic,
recovering. So
recovering Catholic.
I'm going to start us off on a great foot because of you.
Oh, yeah.
So the wine pairing today, we're going to get to...
honored.
You are being honored. We are going to get to the wine pairing, and you can talk about where you got it and promote that small business, etc.
Yes.
I'll talk about the wine. But I also wanted to give us a quick overview of sacramental wine because it's specific. And, you know, there are some rules. So Wikipedia...
Of course there are rules. It's Catholicism.
Wikipedia was my girl because I did find I found a company that makes wine for the sacrament. I found like lengthy articles about the sacramental wine. And I was like, no, I want the high points. So sacramental wine, communion wine, or altar wine, or wine for consecration. All of these things are essentially different ways to say communion. Is wine obtained from grapes and intended for use in the celebration of the Eucharist, also referred to as the Lord's Supper or Holy Communion, among other names. The blood of, and it represents the blood of Christ. Well, it represents depending on what kind of Christian you are, because there are facets of Christianity, I think Catholicism included, that truly believe that like in the moment of the wine and the wafer hitting the tongue, a transformation occurs and you are indeed consuming the flesh and blood of Christ. Whereas
that's like the cornerstone of Catholicism.
Yes, but like the Lutherans are like, it represents the blood and the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lutherans are a little more logical about it.
We try. And obviously wine history, anyone who's been listening to the segments with Ushwin's Wine Corner from Unpinned Wine Club, knows how deeply ingrained in our world's history wine is. So it's not surprising that this was being drunk at the Last Supper, and there are connections to that, like why it's red wine, because that would have been what was readily available at that time. And there are some rules about how it has to be like a pure grape wine. So we're not I don't know 100% what that means in terms of it can't be blended grapes. It has to be only grapes. It can't be like blended with other fruits. I'm not super sure what that purity entails. But let me see if I can find it. So
Jesus would know.
In the early church, both clergy and laity received the consecrated wine by drinking from the chalice after receiving a portion of the consecrated bread. So that's what we, do as communion now for sure. Due to many factors, including the difficulty of obtaining wine in Northern European countries where the climate was unsuitable for viticulture, drinking from the chalice became largely restricted in the West to the celebrating priest, while others received communion only in the form of bread. This also reduced the symbolic importance of choosing wine of red color. The 20th century, especially after the Second Vatican Council, saw a return to more widespread sharing in the Eucharist under the forms of both bread and wine in the Latin Catholic Church. So even the Catholics had to take a break from the wine because they couldn't get their hands on it.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Because there was no wine?
I guess, and they couldn't grow it themselves, and like they weren't trading like at a sufficient level. And I mean, when you think about it, it's like everybody in the region would have been Catholic and participating in the Eucharist. So it's not like just getting wine for a popular church. It's like, oh, we can't really offer it if we can't get wine that will fuel the entire country, like the entire region.
And people are going to church potentially like every day.
So I thought this was interesting. You know, one of our favorite quotes from Drop Dead Gorgeous, that's why we Lutherans use grape Kool-Aid for the blood of Christ.
Yep.
That's actually inaccurate. The Lutherans...
There's an inaccuracy in that film?
Who knew? The Lutherans and the Catholics and many other facets don't really have beef with alcohol consumption under those branches of Christianity. But Methodists, I guess, did, or many Methodists do. Like they do not consume alcohol, so they will use typically a grape-based juice to mimic the traditional wine Eucharist. But I thought that was funny because I was like, wait a minute. But Lutherans just A, more applicable to the state of Minnesota, and B, it rolls off the tongue so much better. That's why we Lutherans use grape Kool-Aid. Imagine trying to spout the line in the same comedic, iconic way, trying to fumble over Methodists. That's why we Methodists use it. It doesn't work.
Also, who are we Methodists in Minnesota?
Right?
We Lutherans.
All the Methodists are standing up and getting very upset right now. I'm really sorry.
For the blood of Christ.
So traditionally, and probably because this was more common in winemaking at the time, the red wine that was used was fairly sweet. It was often like a muscat or like a muscadet. Isn't that
like
crazy?
A port.
Yeah, or like a port.
Yeah.
And that would be reflective of like, again, the process of winemaking then. And now we just, have a much wider range of wine options. Sorry, I'm really high and I'm just trying to like think this through. But I thought that was interesting that it would have been like a sweet wine.
And aren't those wines, they're sweeter because they're like stored longer?
Some of them are aged in a different way. A lot of it has to do with like how ripe the grapes themselves are, what type of grape is used in those wines, because you get that sweetness like all the more ripe a grape, or the riper a grape is, like the more sugar it has. And so you want to like pull at the right time to get a specific flavor profile. And so if you're pulling when they're like super, super ripe, like right on the edge, that's when they're going to have like the most sugar content. And then that like really feeds the fucking yeast and like completely changes the fermentation process. And then that affects your outcome. But then, yes, how you age it, especially when it comes to like a port, those can be, if you've ever tried like a 30-year port.
Yes.
A 60-year port.
I've tried a very expensive port. I was working at a bar and somebody realized that the cork had crumbled. So it was getting aerated. So we were like, well, it's going to go to waste. Yeah. So we shared a bottle. It was like a $300 bottle of port.
We used to offer port flights at the Harriet Brasserie, which is a little restaurant where I work on weekends. So come see me. And it would be 10 to, I think, 80, maybe 60 years. It was like 10, 20, 40, 60 or something like that. And it was all the same port from the same like company that made it.
Oh, cool.
That just aged at different years. You just buy, so you could taste them all in a row. And it was crazy, the difference. Like they're all delicious, but if you taste the 10-year like next to the 60-year, the 10-year tastes like fucking paint thinner, and the 60-year tastes like the softest, sweetest, richest, creamiest, like most delicate thing. It's so fucking good. The color is completely different. It's cool. Anyway, so if you get a chance to do something like that, that port that you would be drinking would be pretty damn similar to like what kind of wine they were drinking for the sacrament traditionally thousands of years ago, which is super fucking cool.
I was just wondering if maybe they used that wine that tended to be sweeter because it was like somehow less expensive.
No. I mean, maybe now that's more of an effect, but I think that's just because it follows tradition more than cost.
Okay.
So some of the rules about the sacrament. The most holy sacrifice of the Eucharist must be celebrated in bread and in wine, to which a small quantity of water is to be added. The bread must probably holy water in Roman Catholicism, maybe.
Or they're
it just says
thinning
water.
it out.
It's thinning it out. The bread must be wheaten only and recently made, so that there is no danger of corruption. Well, that's out the window with the wafer. God knows how old that wafer is.
Recently made. Yikes.
The wine must be natural, made from grapes of the vine, and not corrupt. So that's what I mean when I'm like, I'm not sure what that means. Like
it sounds like just not a blend, but
Yeah.
also they're thinning it with water anyway.
Right.
I don't know. They're crazy.
So I guess, okay, this tells me a little bit. This means that the wine must be naturally fermented with nothing added to it, and the wine itself cannot have soured or become vinegar, nor can it have anything artificial added to it like preservatives or flavors. While the Catholic Church generally adheres to the rule that all wine for sacramental use must be pure grape wine and alcoholic, this is where I got that other piece of information. It is accepted that there are some circumstances where it may be necessary to use a wine that is only minimally fermented, called mustum. Never heard of that. So yeah, it says here, Lutheran churches use sacramental wine in the Eucharist, and this may be mingled with water in the chalice. Methodist denominations use non-alcoholic wine, i.e. grape juice, in the sacrament, and in general, Methodists have historically supported teetotalism.
Teetotalers.
Yep, teetotalism, the practice of voluntarily abstaining from the consumption of alcohol.
Yep.
Fine with me.
Whatever.
So yeah.
You do you, baby.
I'll finish with this, the manner of consumption. And actually, I need to pull this picture and put it on the drive because there's like this little Lord Fauntleroy looking guy with the shiniest fuck-ass bob I've ever seen, kneeling in front of a pastor or a priest and taking the sacrament, and it's fucking sending me. It's going on the drive right now.
Oh my God. That is not what I was expecting.
But isn't he exactly how I described him?
Yes. That is the fuckest ass Bob I've ever seen.
He definitely uses Kerastase Thermatique. There's no way he skips a day. That
shine is brilliant.
Girl, drop your beauty secrets. 'Cause
maybe we should start going to church to get shiny hair.
The photo is labeled a bridegroom receiving the chalice at the altar rail during a nuptial mass.
So it was his wedding day. That's why he's all shined up.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's his wife next to him.
Yeah.
Look at her bun.
Yeah.
Oh, what I would
This is
give.
a photo.
This is incredible. Holy shit. Okay.
Nothing like a brown polyester suit getting married in.
Let's go. In the Roman rite of the Catholic Church, communion is administered under the form of wine, either by the communicant drinking directly from the chalice. We used to do that. And then the church
wipe it.
Yeah, and then they wipe it. And then the church, we switched to the bigger Lutheran church when we moved to Minnesota. Tiny little cups, like little like little plastic shot glasses, basically.
I can't tell which is worse. I kind of like the wiping.
I like the wiping, but not in a post-COVID world, girl.
No, and I haven't been to church since well before COVID.
No.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yes.
I think I may have told it. Okay, so my dad always made us go to church, but my mom wouldn't go. That was her Sunday morning time alone. She grew up in a Lutheran church, but they didn't really go to church. I don't think they really went to church. She certainly didn't in adulthood. Anyway, every once in a while, my dad would guilt my mom into going to church with him, with us. And she'd go, but so this one time we were lining up and, you go down the rows, you do the loop to go get the Eucharist and everything. She wasn't very well practiced with the chalice. So she took a sip and dumped it all down the front of her shirt. No. She way overshot. And she got so embarrassed that she, did the thing and then just went straight out the side door. I'll be in the car.
Communion fear and panic is so real because I panicked at Bill's beloved grandmother Millie passed away a few years ago.
You told me this story, whether to get up or not.
Well, she was Catholic, and I was like, her funeral included a full mass, and we were seated in the front with the family. And when they offered communion, they invited everyone to come up, but they were like, if you, A, have not ever received communion and or B, haven't received communion in a very long time, you put your hands behind your back for the blessing. And I'm like, well, I used to take communion and I did my catechism work and all that shit to be able to take communion. And I can't just sit here because then I'll be the only family member sitting alone in the family section at Sweet Millie's funeral. So I'm going to go up. But then I was like, I'm not sure if I should take it or not. So if you wanted to take it, you would approach with your hands cupped in front of you. And if you just wanted a blessing, you would approach with your hands folded behind you. Uh-huh. And I was doing like this in the line, like trying to figure it out. And then finally got up there and just...
Student titties.
Two student titties, two student tickets. Oh, God. And then just like whipped my hands behind my back and put my head down. And they gave me a blessing and probably laughed at me. And then I toddled back to I was like, every time I go to church, I think I'm going to get in trouble.
The panic. I don't get.
Panic. Eucharist panic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, unlike satanic panic, is real. So, okay. So yeah, in the Byzantine Rite of the Eastern Orthodox Church and some Eastern Catholic churches and Eastern Lutheran churches, the normal method is to use a spoon to give the communicant some of the consecrated wine together with a portion of the consecrated bread that has been placed in the chalice. Some, they kind of tried to also have this like revamp between 1970 and 2000, where they envisioned the Roman Catholics, like the Roman Missal at the time, envisioned the use of a silver tube, so a straw, to drink from the chalice. Yep. Or a spoon, and so the spoon would have harkened back to the Byzantine rite, where you would be fed. They'd like scoop it, put the bread in it, you give the whole, it's like wine bread soup.
Yeah. I like that. It's effective. It's, efficient.
In Lutheran churches and the Anglican Church, the wine is normally consumed with each communicant receiving a small sip of it as the chalice is offered to them. This is often referred to as the common cup, but other Protestant denominations use the small individual cups presented to communicants on a tray, although a larger chalice may still be used by the presiding minister. So that's how we ended up doing it. The main HBIC... And they would give each other like the sacrament from the cup and do the whole ceremony with the cup. And then when it was time for everyone to line up, an altar boy with a tray full of wine and then another altar boy with a bucket of wafers was there. And then well,
they've got probably 150 people to get through. We got to go.
Well, I went to St. Philip the Deacon Lutheran Church in Wayzata, Minnesota. It was fucking huge.
Okay, big one.
Huge. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're not drinking specific like sacramental wine today, but Lucy this was Lucy's pick of episode, and Lucy went on a little adventure to find the wine this time. So tell us what you picked up.
Well, I went to my neighborhood liquor store, Ingersoll Wine and Spirits, at
shout out
35th and Ingersoll. And there's some weird going on with their ownership. They're in a transitional period, but it's a good time to go support them. Mm-hmm. And really any local business, wherever you are. Mm-hmm. But I went there in the hopes of finding something that would go with Papacy Crimes, and it did not disappoint.
No, you picked a great bottle.
So I was looking at red wines because of the blood of Christ. Mm-hmm. And I found this beautiful bottle. It's called Sin Zin.
Yes. I love him just languishing on the floor, pouring through a funnel.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
He's taken his sacrament. Mm-hmm. It's a 2020 Sonoma County Zinfandel.
Yes. This is made by Alexander Valley. Mm-hmm. And is very high rated by wine enthusiasts, which is
really,
super. It has like a 90% or a 90 point rating. She retails for around $20. You can get her for like between $20 and $25, depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
She is a 100% Zinfandel out of Sonoma in California, Sonoma County. And that region is known for its Zinfandel. So like if you see a Zinfandel from like that area of California, you know it's going to fucking slap. It's going to be super good. She's 14.1% and she is a popper. Are you going to open her up?
I have to, don't I?
You don't have to, but you can if you want some.
I have a glass and I have my
Let's do it.
iridescent wine key.
I also love how you're wearing your Trinity College shirt and I'm wearing like my New York General College.
I know. I saw that as soon as our camera turned on. We're kind of matching. This was the closest thing I could find to like
Vatican City.
Church merch.
I did see that you uploaded some of our videos from Vatican City
And you
to
did
the drive.
too.
So I went and found a bunch of our pictures from that day. I loved that day.
We'll be talking about that day here
Thank
during
God.
my segment.
All right. Well, when you're ready, we'll pop.
Okay. Well, unlike you, I don't open bottles of wine very often or very gracefully.
You're doing great, sweetie.
I have the foil off so far.
Great. That's the hardest part, in my opinion. Screw it all the way down and then use the small leverage.
Oh, I know how to do it. I'm
First.
just not that good at doing it.
Okay.
All the way.
Yep.
Okay.
The small and then the tall.
We got the small. Now
we
the
got
tall.
the tall.
Ready?
Yep. Woo!
Nice.
That was a nice pap. Nice peep.
Gross. Nice Pope.
I fully thought you were going to chug that.
No, I was just smelling it.
Okay, let me see if I can find, while you're pouring for yourself, what the blessing of the sacrament is.
Nice
What is
Pope.
the blessing given with the sacrament?
This is my body. I have given up for you. What is it? This is my blood. I have shed for you. Drink it and
Oh, yeah,
be
here
a
we go.
good girl.
Yeah, yuck. Gross. Yes, I'll accept the cookies on churchofjesuschrist.org, okay? I'll accept.
They should ask if you accept the should ask if they accept the wafers.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. It says, oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Wait, fuck you. You went away. This website, listen, churchofjesuschrist.org. Your website sucks. Okay. Break bread and give thanks, and break it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. I remember that in remembrance of me part. And then he takes up the cup after supper, drinks from the cup, blah, blah, blah. After supper saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. There you go. Now drink it.
Cheers.
Fucking drink it. Shed for you. Ah?
That's nice.
Yeah. Can you get a little pepper on that bad boy? A little black pep?
Yeah, I feel it in the back of my throat.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I love a Zinfandel.
I like it.
It's like fruit forward if you really think about like those raspberry and like ripe berry notes and then let it settle into that black pepper. It's really nice.
It's like a pretty flavor.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love about wine. All right.
I like it.
Take.
It's a red that I am enjoying.
I love this for you. The times they are a changing. All right, let's take a break to hear a quick word from our sponsors and then dive deeper into the papacy. Here we go. Okay, y'all, I am on the struggle bus today. I can barely read, let alone organize my finances.
No, that's not.
Can you imagine if you plopped me down in front of a spreadsheet right now and told me to accomplish anything with numbers? I would implode. And that is why Rocket Money is my girl. So that even when I am in the state that I'm currently in, they're doing all of that hard work for me and I can just look at it. Because Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. She's the best.
The best. She is the adult in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket Money makes it so easy to just set up like automatic categories for your spending across all of your accounts. So you can like see what you're spending way too much on. 15% of income on, you know, meal delivery.
Oops.
That was a revelation that I had recently that doesn't sit well. So I'm actively making changes. It is so great for just setting up your budget or if you're saving up for something, you know. Also, like Amanda said, you don't have to keep a spreadsheet anymore because Rocket Money consolidates checking, savings, loans, investments, like where all of your money is into a single dashboard that you can just log in and have a completely clear, simple view of your whole financial picture. I swear to God, everybody needs this is the product that I will shout from the rooftops. It has helped me. I love it. You have to check out Rocket Money.
Seriously, let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/gals. That's rocketmoney.com/gals. rocketmoney.com/gals. True crime stories can be intriguing and also dark, but has your mind ever started generating disturbing thoughts that you don't want to engage with? Thoughts that made you question maybe who you are or made you feel a sense of alarm? And maybe it's a disturbing image that pops up out of nowhere, or a violent urge that might scare you, or a thought about harming yourself or someone that you love. And even though these are unwanted thoughts, they are intrusive and can feel so real and disturbing that you might start to wonder, like, what does this mean about me? What kind of person thinks these things? Let me tell you, you're not alone.
The truth is, intrusive thoughts like these happen to almost everyone. But for people with OCD, they don't just pass by. They stick and cause intense distress, which drives people to do repetitive mental or physical actions in an attempt to feel safe or okay. When you have OCD, you might spend hours analyzing what an unwanted thought could mean, desperately trying to prove to yourself that you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person. You might feel the urge to confess every little thing or seek reassurance from friends and family, or replay memories over and over and over to feel more certain that you didn't accidentally do something terrible. But no matter what you try, the distress always returns, often stronger than before. OCD is misunderstood and can be debilitating. People often suffer for years, even decades, lifetimes, without realizing they have it. But it's also highly treatable with the right kind of therapy, specialized therapy. Standard talk therapy won't cut it, but exposure and response prevention therapy, or ERP, is highly effective. And that's why we want to tell you about NoCD. They're the world's leading provider of OCD treatment. All their licensed therapists are trained in ERP, and they will never judge you for any frightening thought you've had.
Therapy with NoCD is 100% virtual. They offer between session support so you're never alone, and they accept insurance for over 155 million Americans. If any of this sounds familiar, visit nocd.com to book a free 15-minute call and see how they can help. That's nocd.com.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? They have all the plants your yard or home needs, including fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and houseplants, all grown with care and guaranteed to arrive healthy. It's like your local nursery, but anywhere you live, with more plants than you'll find anywhere else. So whatever you're looking for, Fast Growing Trees helps you find options that actually work for your climate, your space, and your lifestyle. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Just click, order, grow, and get healthy, thriving plants delivered to your door. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee promises that your plants arrive happy and healthy. No green thumb required, just quality plants you can count on. Plus, get ongoing support from trained plant experts who can help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them every step of the way. I'm a huge fan of fast-growing trees. I started reviving my backyard last year. I have a Japanese cherry blossom tree that I planted.
Too.
Oh my God, she looks great. She's growing. She's been in there for a couple years now, I think. I'm really impressed with not only myself, but also with the quality of these trees.
Yeah. I really love all of the options that they have. Like, even if you are someone who is very dedicated to your local nursery, that's amazing. And sometimes there's going to be things that they just don't have. And the selection on Fast Growing Trees is so amazing. And they really do break it down for like every zone. I obviously live in Minneapolis, so we have a much like narrower growing season. Our spring is kind of short. She tends to arrive late. We've got all kinds of rules about not planting anything in your yard until after Mother's Day. And Fast Growing Trees made it so easy for me to pick plants, trees, and shrubs that will actually thrive in those conditions. And then, yeah, they were delivered and in gorgeous shape. I just planted them and moved on with my life. And now I've got all these amazing plants. So you've also got these plant experts. If you're not really a natural green thumb like me and you just want to learn a little bit more, like Lucy said, they will help you every step of the way with not only just finding the right plants, but like your layout and exactly how to care for them. And right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants, and listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code GALS at checkout. That's an additional 20% off better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code GALS at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code GALS. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use GALS to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Okay, I am on the edge of my seat, Lucy, ready to receive the sacrament that is your segment. Your segment.
Well, my segment.
What do you got for us?
I could have read about this all day. I spent the majority of my day yesterday writing these notes. And there are so many rabbit holes to go down, and just like Catholicism
is crazy.
It's all really wild.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting at the beginning, the word pope is Latin papa, and it's from Greek papas for father.
The father. Okay. Mm-hmm. I never even bothered to look into that. I just accepted that word and that I had no idea what it meant, except that he was like the king of the church.
Papa.
Papa.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck.
The king of the church. Therefore, papacy is the jurisdiction and office of the pope. So the word pope has been used since about the 9th century CE as the title of the Bishop of Rome, who is the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. He's elected by all the cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
The Roman Catholic Church is the largest of the 3 major branches of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of Catholics. So hierarchy-wise and thusly bureaucracy-wise, this is like the pyramid of the Roman Catholic Church. At the bottom, we have regular people.
Okay.
Second tier, we have deacons, which includes ordained ministers like Amanda.
Oh my God, I'm tier 2.
You're tier 2. You are 1 tier closer to Jesus
All I
than
have to
everyone
find
else.
is 5 people in the tier under me, and then I'll have enough to ascend.
Tier points. Yeah. How can you redeem your tier points?
Oh, I'm sure you'll tell us.
Well, you're closer to Jesus. So above deacons, we have priests. An
Tier
individual
3.
priest has his own parish, and a priest can administer most sacraments. Above that, we have bishops.
Tier 4.
Bishop tier 4. The bishops govern regions called dioceses.
So like
I
the
always have
archdiocese.
Yeah. Yes. Bishops can also perform all sacraments, including confirmation. So when you got confirmed, it wasn't by a regular priest. It was by a bishop.
We didn't have priests, but yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, a step above.
We had like a pastor, a reverend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I never know what the other ones are called. Above that, we have archbishops. They govern large metropolitan areas called archdioceses.
Tier 5.
They oversee the bishops and the priests.
Okay, so the dioceses are like the assistant to the regional manager. The archdiocese is the regional manager.
The diocese is the area. It's the region.
Okay.
So the bishop is like the assistant to the regional manager. The archbishop is the regional manager.
Got it. Archbishop. Okay.
And then we have cardinals, tier, what are we on, 5?
Tier 5, I think.
They assist and elect the pope. So the cardinals are a pretty big deal.
They're like the CEO and or the board of trustees.
They're kind of like the board because they are the ones that elect the pope.
Okay, so they're the board.
They make up the administration of the Holy See, which is the government of the Catholic Church.
Crazy, yeah.
So it's C as in S-E-E, and I always thought that had something to do with like, you know, vision.
Yeah, seeing God.
But it comes from the Latin word for seat.
Oh, okay.
So there's a Holy See in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, there was a Holy See in Byzantine.
Okay.
So it's just like the president.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the Holy See, that's the government of the Catholic Church. The cardinals live all over the world, but some of them do live at the Vatican.
Mm-hmm. The Holy See is like a prime minister.
Well, the Holy See is the position of the Pope. The Pope.
Oh, so the Pope is...
The Pope is the Holy
See. Okay. So yeah, he is. He's like the king of the Catholics.
The Pope is the head of the state of the Holy See.
The government of the Holy See.
Think of the Holy See as like the White House back when we deserved respect as a country and a nation.
Sure. Okay.
So the Holy See
and the Pope is their boss.
Is the position, and the Pope is the person sitting in that position.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, the Pope he's the head of the Holy See, he's the head of the Vatican, the head of the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
So the words, the terms, the Holy See and the Vatican are used interchangeably, but the Vatican refers typically to the actual Vatican city-state in Rome, which we are well acquainted with.
Because we walked all the way around it.
We walked all the way around it. For the love of God, when you leave the Vatican museums and you go down that escalator or up that escalator, whichever way we went.
Don't turn left.
Don't turn left. Go where everyone else is going and turn right.
Back toward the line that you stood in to get in. For the love of God,
if you go left, you won't have a choice but to walk all the way around the city-state
to get back into the city-state country.
There's only one entrance and a really tall wall.
Yeah, well fortified. Not climbable.
So one of the things I uploaded to the drive is a little video of us walking around the whole fucking place.
It was the best. It was so funny.
It was really nice outside. It was a beautiful day.
Gorgeous. It was an amazing walk.
But I was kind of nervous because I didn't know how far we were going to end up having to walk.
Yep.
It was kind of a long way, but it could have been much worse.
It took us like half an hour. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was great.
No,
almost getting hit by cars was the part that scared me.
Yeah, I didn't love that
Because there were stretches of road without any sidewalk or pathway.
And really blind curves.
Yeah. 4 of them.
Oh, God. Okay, so the Vatican, it's a landlocked sovereign city-state and enclave within the city of Rome in Italy, and it serves as the administrative center of the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. With an area of 121 acres, so it is less than 0.2 square miles.
Yeah, it's really small.
It's really small. And I think it's so funny that we accidentally walked around the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Inside there is a population, a stable population, permanent population of 882 people.
That's kind of, I mean, that's a lot of people in a 2 square mile area.
0.2.
Sorry, a 0.2 square mile area.
It's the smallest sovereign state in the world, both by area and population, and it's the only country in the world with a population of under 1,000 people. Mm. It's technically a country. I don't know. It was so fucking weird.
It's so weird.
And like
the reason why I spent so long thinking about this and reading about it is because, and on one hand, it's wild to consider like its history of being both a governmental body and like religious. And it's weird to think about in today's context, but at the same time, our government's waging a holy war. Like, I don't know. It's just
as
weird
we speak.
It's weird because it's so unfamiliar and it seems so backwards. And then it's like, oh God, this would have hit different 20 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Well, maybe more than that, but okay. Let's talk about Pope garb.
Yes, please.
So the big tall hat.
Are there pictures?
No, but I could put some on the. You know the big tall hat?
Yes.
It's like it's pointed and there's like 2 layers on it. That's called it's either a meter or a mitre.
Okay.
I forgot to put that in my notes, but I just remembered it, so I have no more information for you about that. But
I don't need more.
The zucchetto is the name for the little white skull cap that the Pope wears when he's not wearing his mitre. The term zucchetto means little pumpkin in Italian.
That's cute. That's very cute.
And its actual purpose is to keep the Pope's head warm.
Keep it warm.
Particularly, and like this is traditionally because back in the day, the clergy had the haircuts where they shaved the top of the head.
Oh, yeah, like the monk cuts. Yeah.
Yeah, so they only had
one that my father developed naturally until finally being convinced to just buzz the rest.
Just get rid of it.
Please,
it doesn't look that good.
It's not doing you any favors.
It's not doing what you think it's doing.
This is not giving what you think it's giving.
So those were called tonsure haircuts. Tonsure.
Cute.
Yeah. So that's what it's just made to cover his bald spot.
Yeah, gotta keep it warm.
Okay. The Pope actually has 2 different kinds of shoes, and they're bright red.
Do you ever think, like, in modern day, the Pope ever gets time behind the scenes to just, like, rock some Costco sweats and, like, dad slippers and just not have to worry about all this shit?
Yeah, surely. Remember when we were in Rome and they were talking about, like, in the olden times, the Pope would, like, sneak out of the Vatican at night and, like...
Yeah.
Like,
kinda
dressed
like
in normal clothes.
Yeah, like
but
pull a Princess Jasmine and, like, go to the market and be one of the regular people.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was mostly to, like, get tea on what was going on in the streets so that they could use it
I don't care what it was for. It was just kind of interesting, just, like, stealing away at night to go be among the regular,
Very
the plebes. So popes, they got bright red shoes. They have 2 versions. They're silk shoes to wear inside the Vatican and leather ones for the outside.
Yes, inside shoes and outside shoes.
They can't cross over.
No.
The color red used to be associated with power and high status because in the ancient world, the red dye used to make the color royal purple came from rare sea snails and was very costly.
Wow.
So,
and sad, kind of.
Papal shoes in this color symbolize martyrdom and the passion of Christ, showing that the Pope is called to follow Christ's example of sacrifice.
Okay.
Some popes prefer simpler shoes. However, Pope Francis wore a simple black shoe and Pope JP2 switched to brown loafers later in his papacy.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is true because I haven't done my own research on it. However, there are photos in the Epstein files of all of those fucking guys wearing bright red shoes.
Oh, I don't like that.
Isn't that fucking gross?
I don't like that one bit. But also, would we be surprised at this point in history?
I won't be surprised by anything.
You know, higher Catholic hierarchy, like within the church, having connections to Epstein.
Or just this historical symbolism that those types of people like to latch on to.
Right. So whether it was actually practicing, you know, bishops, priests, or ministers, or it was just people cosplaying
It's
using
just
that
rich
symbolism.
that's, I think, what it was.
But I wouldn't be surprised either way, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Given everything we know and have known. I mean, my grandma left the Catholic Church. She was a devout Catholic Helen for her whole life. Like, didn't even go to church with my grandpa on Sundays because he didn't go to Catholic church. I think he might have been Protestant. And when the first like scandal broke to the media in like, when was that? The late 90s, early 2000s?
I don't
about all the
remember.
abuse in the church, but that's when it like first started to come out. And then obviously more and more people came forward in the years following, but she left the church at that first news because of it. She was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to be part of this. And I've always like really respected her convictions there.
I wonder if she kind of knew about it. If part of her knew something about it and then it came out and then it was like, okay, I'm not ignoring this anymore.
Because she wasn't like involved at any, like administrative level with the church. She just went to mass every Sunday and like she prayed her rosary. She had like 1 million Bibles. But so I don't know what she knew or didn't know. I don't think she knew, because I think if that was enough for her to be like, I'm not doing this anymore, then she would have left before.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't like blow the whistle. But
weird.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, the Catholic, I don't know. I've known Catholics who will just kind of stop being Catholic at like a certain point in their life and just kind of be fine with not going to church and being really a practicing Catholic like anymore. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, every Catholic that I know now no longer goes to church. And I don't know if that's like a certain time in history they were turned off from it, or just a certain time of life that you're just kind of over it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the popularity of like hierarchies of power, both in church and government, over time diminishes. And I mean, that's why we have all these fucking like horrible monsters too, because anywhere that has this like regimented and powerful hierarchy of power, like the papacy very much did, and in some regions still does, you're gonna get horrible monsters who are trying to climb their way to the top.
I think you get that with any power structure.
That's
over
exactly
time.
what I'm saying. So like, of course we're seeing it everywhere, because that's what everything fucking is these days.
Woo! This wine is great.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink a lot more of it.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Oh, I was delighted to learn that the Vatican has a flag.
It does. And you're gonna tell us about it.
So the flag of Vatican City, also referred to as the flag of the Holy See, consists of vertical bicolor of yellow and white. So it's split into two. The left part is yellow and the right part is white. With the white half charged with the emblem of the Holy See, which consists of a papal tiara and the crossed keys of St. Peter.
It is quite beautiful.
It's very...
The Catholics knew how to, like, put a bird on it. Like, ornate as fuck.
It's ornate, but it's also, like, fairly simple with maximum impact. It's very commanding. So the flag was adopted in 1929, the year that Pope Pius XI signed the Lateran Treaty with Italy, creating the new independent state of Vatican City. We will kind of get back to it, but the Lateran Treaty basically created the Vatican sovereign state. And fun fact, it was in part negotiated and also signed by Benito Mussolini.
Wow.
Il Duce. Okay, my lover Encyclopedia Britannica has this amazing infograph with like Pope fast facts.
I love it. Okay.
So here are some of those. There have been 267 popes, 83 of whom were later named as saints. Lots of saints coming out of the popes.
Yeah, but they don't even have a 50% pope to saint turnover.
So a lot of these popes suck.
Yeah, they sure fucking did. They understatement of the century.
Yeah.
Of the papacy.
So when you consider that, 83 seems kind of high.
Actually, yeah, you're right. You're right.
The first pope was St. Peter the Apostle, and so popes the following popes are seen as the successor of St. Peter and therefore basically a direct line of authority from Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Because, you know, St. Peter was like friends with Jesus.
Yeah, I guess. And
he
in
was
theory,
like his main guy.
And in theory, each pope advises the next pope and keeps that, you know, keeps that shining beacon.
Well, that isn't how it works.
It's not how it worked out.
Because almost all of the time, I think this only didn't happen once, the next pope was elected while the previous pope was still alive.
Correct.
Because usually they die, and then there's 9 days of mourning, and then all the cardinals gather, and then they have their conclave, and then they vote for the new pope, and then they do the white smoke thing.
Yeah, to the extent that one of the popes, in my case, was literally still pope in prison.
A lot of popes went to prison.
Yeah, they just were, they were like stripped of whatever their duties were, but they were still pope. It's just like their sub-popes were doing all the work.
Yeah.
Taking care of business.
Yeah, he was the figurehead. He could be in prison without any sort of real power.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily fully disrupt the administrative day-to-day of the papacy to have the pope in prison. So convenient.
Not even a little bit.
So convenient.
Not in the age before Twitter.
No.
Who would know?
Well, pretty much. Wheel him out in the mobile every once in a while, and everyone's going to assume he's fine.
Weekend at Bernie's him in the Pope mobile.
Yeah, what's the
Prop
rush?
him up. Move his wrist around so he looks like he's waving.
He's waving. Blow kisses. Come on, do Pope stuff.
Do your Pope thing. Do your Pope shtick. The Pope, therefore, because of this direct line of authority, the Pope is thus seen to have full and supreme power of jurisdiction over the universal church in matters of faith and morals, as well as in church discipline and government.
Great. Not a problem at all. Just has power over basically everything. Got it.
Well, we've had popes for, over 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Their level of power has shifted greatly.
Oh, yes. I'm not reacting to this through a modern lens. I'm saying, at one time, you basically ruled everything.
We will get to the modern lens because I had to know how much of that was still accurate. So we'll close out with that. We'll close out with how afraid you should be in 2026.
Okay.
So the official titles of the Pope are many.
Remember when J.D. Vance killed the Pope? Do you ever just catch yourself thinking about how J.D. Vance fucking killed the Pope? Because people will ask me what's your Roman Empire? And that's one of them now. I spend a decent amount of time.
What did he say to him?
I think it was just his mere presence. Ugh. I remember tweeting or threading or whatever after that happened. I would die within 24 hours too if I had to be in a room with J.D. Vance. Bye. I'm done.
The fact that he wasn't so sick that he wasn't still receiving visitors, but then he died right away after that.
Next day. He had just traveled. He was fine.
He was fine.
The fuck? What did J.D. Vance do to that man?
That fart was.
Killed him. Wrecked him. Nearly killed him. Anyway, okay. Sorry. We couldn't do a Papacy Crimes, and it popped into my head.
You gotta say it.
You gotta say it.
When you think about J.D. Vance killing the Pope, you have to talk about it.
You have to talk about it. Or it's
Let it out.
It's like having a song stuck in your head. You have to play it and sing along, or that song's never gonna go away.
Never. Never. It's like trying not to yawn when someone else yawns.
Don't even say the word yawn.
Oh, no.
I have heightened empathy.
I have heightened empathy.
Shut the fuck up. I have heightened empathy.
Shut your fucking mouth. Okay. Other titles for the Pope include the Bishop of Rome, the Vicar of Jesus Christ, the Metropolitan Archbishop of the Province of Rome, the successor of the Prince of the Apostles, the Supreme Pontiff of the Universal Church, the Sovereign of the State of Vatican City, the Servant of the Servants of God, the Patriarch of the West, and my personal favorite, the Primate of Italy.
This reminds me of, like, what was it? Was it in Sandlot where they were talking about Babe Ruth?
Yeah, the Sultan of Swat.
The Sultan of Swat. I looked them up. The Behemoth of Bust. The Big Bam. The Big Fellow. The Caliph of Clout. The Great Bambino.
The Primate of Italy.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't even care if it's primate. It's primate.
Yeah, for real.
The most common pope name is John.
Yeah. And they will just change the name to John?
Yeah, it's not their real name.
No.
It's their chosen name.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one pope, and I don't think this is how you pronounce their name, but this is how I'm going to say it. Hyginus.
Pope Hugenus the Fourth.
Huginus.
Huginus Aquinas. Vaginus. Dentitis.
Rewindus.
Rewindus.
It's Hyginus.
Hyginus. He was very clean.
I like Hyginus.
I love Hyginus.
He was very clean.
He was self-cleaning, in fact.
No man is self-cleaning.
You're so
You're
right.
not that evolved.
You're so right.
The shortest serving pope, meaning the pope who served the shortest term, was Pope Urban the Seventh, who was elected on September 15th, 1590, and died 12 days later from malaria.
No! Is that like William Henry Harrison, our shortest living president? And I know this because of Parks and Recreation. He died because he didn't wear a coat to like his own outdoor inauguration ceremony. In January.
Just froze to death?
He got pneumonia or some shit, and he died like 15 days later or something
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
Yeah.
Wish Trump would do that.
Right? That
That'd be
motherfucker
awesome.
survived COVID. How?
I don't know.
Like, literally looks like you could blow him over with a feather. Like, somebody, something, some element, please intervene.
Yeah. Nature.
We're ready. Nature,
your
do your
thing.
thing, girl. We're waiting. Any minute now.
So he only had 13 days as the Pope, but during his short tenure, he instituted the world's first known public smoking ban.
That bitch. Yeah, I'm glad you're dead. I'm glad you died.
Only in or near a church. It wasn't blanket
Boo.
everywhere.
Boo.
Let him smoke in church.
I will vape in this pew. I can't have your sacrament. I brought my own, bitch.
I will fume in this pew.
I will puff sick clouds in this pew. You can sling incense back and forth, but I can't rip my fucking vape.
That's true. That's
I'm
very
sorry.
hypocritical.
Rules for thee and not for me, I guess. You're
You have
vaping all day.
candles everywhere.
Literal incense. Get out. This is some bullshit.
You're
I'm
making
pissed.
kids drink wine.
Yep.
Okay. The reason why they don't just call themselves like Pope number 1, Pope number 12, Pope number 893 is because at times the legitimate succession between multiple Pope claimants was impossible to determine.
Oh.
Which brings us to the Antipopes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
the-
this was a thing.
Antipopes.
Antipapa.
Antipapa.
The evil twin brother of the Pope.
Oh, our current Pope. He's just a regular brother. He's not a twin.
Oh, boo.
Right?
Get a
Boo. Get a twin.
twin. Rude.
An antipope is one who opposes the legitimately elected Bishop of Rome endeavors to secure the papal throne and, to some degree, succeeds materially in the attempt.
Okay, so it's someone saying, like, fuck you, you're not the Pope, I'm the Pope. And actually makes it at least far enough to be remembered in history as an anti-Pope.
Yes.
Whether he got the seat or not, he had to have at least made a solid enough effort for it to even be recorded. Because I'm sure people would be like... And
to have some support, generate some support to these claims.
Exactly, because I'm sure there were enough just everyday people under this governing body of religion who were like, well, not my Pope, but this bullshit Pope, but weren't actually January 6th the Pope and trying to like storm the papacy.
Yes.
Okay.
And because we're looking at a period of over 2,000 years that encompasses periods and places of varying like literacy, media distribution, plus the whole thing is based on presumed religious authority in the first place, as well as military and government authority. It is impossible to have a comprehensive list of all of the anti-popes and their motivations. And like varying degrees of anti, you know?
Right. People who are just like staging disruption versus people who are actually trying to
get that throne.
Yeah, are going to have different places in the history books for sure.
Exactly.
All right.
But it is generally conceded that there were at least 37 anti-popes from the year 217 to 1439.
Wow. I mean, 37 who probably made it either, like we said, far enough to have left a mark that was worth noting, or B, fully took the throne.
Yes. And also,
Game of Popes.
There was a time when there was more than one pope at the same time.
Yep.
Which we'll get to. Historically, anti-popes have arisen as a result of a variety of causes. So here are some examples. They might disagree on doctrine. They might have like real reasons to be like, the church shouldn't be run this way. In at least one case, the Pope was deported.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There were times when there were double elections. So one Pope might be like, well, everyone in this group voted for me, but everyone in this group voted for somebody else.
Oh, okay.
And so that was just like
we'll both serve.
Like competing elections, and then like, well, if you're arguing that either one of them were legitimately elected, you kind of have to argue that neither one
was. Yeah.
Yeah. This happened over a long period of time and in a lot of different circumstances. So also in at least one case, there was a change in the election rules that not everyone agreed with. So the first pope that was elected under this new set of rules, whatever they were, people contested it.
Yeah, because they passed the fucking Save Act.
They passed the Save Act. Yeah, exactly.
And people were like, hold up. No.
Yeah. Anti-popes were supported by some factions within the church itself, as well as by some secular rulers. So they could be like propped up by different kings or, et
we
cetera.
want this guy.
Yeah, because, I mean, as we will get more into, the Holy See was at times a very political
It's very like
influence.
Dramatic campaigning after the fact. It's like, oh, that Pope won? Hold on. I'm rolling up.
Right.
I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I have endorsements.
Sometimes it was difficult to distinguish which of the two claimants should be called Pope and which the anti-Pope, as in the case of Pope Leo VIII and Pope Benedict V, where Leo claimed that he claimed the seat 2 different times. So the second time, the Catholic Church was like, you can have that one.
Okay.
It was just sort of like a toss-up.
So he was both a pope and an anti-pope.
Correct.
An anti-pope who happened to pope.
He poped, he anti-poped.
He left.
He's gone now. There was a lady pope. Kind of. At least there was a legend of one. And I really want to believe it, even though it definitely didn't happen. But the story is very fun.
Well, you will then enjoy my segment because the person I'm talking about in my segment is said to have inspired who you're about to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So you might get the real version but give us the legend.
Okay, here's the legend. This is from history.com.
Mm-hmm.
The Vatican's official records state that all of the more than 260 Catholic popes have been men, but according to a medieval legend, a lady pontiff may have reigned for a brief period in the 9th century. As the story goes, this Pope Joan, my middle name, was a young woman who disguised herself as a man and entered into religious training. Another source said that she was following her lover because he went into the church. At some level, this is all very misogynist, but I'm choosing to see it as like a Joan of Arc kind of moment.
Yeah.
After distinguishing herself as a scholar, she rose through the church ranks and was elected Pope John VIII in the year 855. She went on to rule for more than 2 years, her gender always carefully concealed beneath her flowing holy robes.
Her frock, her holy frock.
Yeah, so many layers.
Yeah, wouldn't be challenging to hide your bits.
No. Wouldn't it be great to just wear flowing holy robes all day?
Honestly, it's like, why do we ever not wear a muumuu?
Her secret was only revealed in 858 when she unexpectedly went into labor during a papal procession out in public in the street. I have a photo on the drive. It's of a wood carving depicting this event, complete with the child falling out through her legs.
There she goes. It really is amazing, though, because it just straight up looks like a pope fell over and a baby fell out of his knee.
Yeah. It's wild.
Crazy.
The baby's just there she is. Some accounts allege that she died in childbirth, while others claim her enraged followers dragged her behind a horse and stoned her to death. The forgotten Popess first planted herself in the medieval imagination in the 13th century when her story appeared in chronicles by the Dominican friars Jean de Maillet and Stephen of Bourbon. She was later christened Joan from John and went on to become a widely accepted part of Catholic history. The 14th century writer Giovanni Boccaccio mentioned her in a book about famous women, and her image graced paintings, sculptures, and tarot cards.
Hell yeah, which as we know from my drunk dive, if you are an Uncorked member, tarot was originally a game in like in Italy. And the cards were made specifically for this popular playing card game and then split off and evolved over time into the modern concept of tarot.
So she was on one of these tarot cards.
That's badass.
She was called the Popess.
I love her.
I have a picture of the tarot card too. Popess. Yeah, it says the Popess.
Cute.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's really cool. I fucking love these tarot cards. They're so sweet.
She was even briefly included in a collection of papal busts in Italy's Siena Cathedral. So like marble busts.
Yeah.
And then later, once they found out that she wasn't real, they re-chiseled her into a man pope's likeness. We don't want to waste that marble. Despite her medieval celebrity, most historians now dismiss Pope Joan as a myth. There are no reliable references to her during her lifetime, and her supposed reign overlaps with those of two well-documented pontiffs, Leo IX and Benedict III. While a few scholars contend that she may have existed later or been expunged from church histories, the more likely explanation is that her story was anti-papal satire popularized by disgruntled monks, early Protestants, and other critics of the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Having a baby on the street while you're working Pope is
while you're pulling Pope.
Wow, while you're pulling day shift on Pope. Seems pretty wild. I think you'd probably
slinging Pope.
While you're slinging Pope, I think you'd probably like call in sick that day if you weren't feeling good.
You probably wouldn't be marching in a procession up until the point of delivering a child.
Yeah. But you know what? Not knowing you're pregnant is a thing. Who knows?
It is a thing. I just love the image of her Pope presenting in her holy robes
doing whatever the fuck she wants, ruling over the Catholic Church.
I assure you, there were female popes. They just weren't the ones public-facing in charge.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. I assume in your segment. Okay, I want to address the concept of papal states.
Okay.
Because they existed for a really long time all over Italy. These were territories that were under the direct rule of the Pope.
Okay.
So
they were like satellite Vatican cities.
There was no Vatican City
at that time.
At this time.
Got it. Okay.
Rome was one of the papal states.
Got it.
But basically the Pope was in charge of those politically and church-wise. They existed from the year 756 when King Pepin the Short gave...
Brutal.
Poor guy. King
Short
Pepin
King,
the Short.
The first Short King.
The original Short King.
Oh, Pepin.
Poor Pepin.
And like being a Short King with a name like Pepin
sounds like a hobbit.
Yes, an additional layer of just malice. Like that is rough stuff.
Yeah.
He was handed what he was handed. Made the most of it.
Well, he was fine. He gave land to the bishops of Rome. And that was sort of divided into the papal states, and then the bishops were then like landlords. There was a lot. There were a lot of politics and stuff. People study the papal states. I'll just put it that way. I'm not getting into it today. So that was in the year 756, and they lasted all the way up to 1870, which was the year that Italy unified.
Damn.
Italy was all different things too. Yeah. The last papal state ended up being Vatican City.
Wild.
They reached an agreement, the Mussolini thing.
Okay, they're like, you can keep this city block.
You can keep this 0.2 square miles. You can do your shit on it. And we won't control you, but you won't control us. Yeah. That's negotiations with Mussolini.
Yep.
In 1309, Pope Clement V moved the papal capital to Avignon, which is what is now in the south of France. Beautiful city. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's walled. It's medieval. It's stunning. They don't allow cars in there, so it just looks like a movie set. It's beautiful. So at that time, that city belonged to the vassals of the Pope.
Okay.
So basically the people who served the Pope, and therefore this was indirectly the Pope's property, which it did eventually become his actual property in 1348. But he originally moved to Avignon because he himself was French, and he was elected Pope, and he's like, I don't want to move to Rome.
Yeah,
you can come to me.
Yeah.
And he had been elected Pope in the first place because of pressure on the cardinals in Rome from King Philip IV of France. So basically, that king helped to install him as Pope. He didn't want to go to Rome. He wanted to stay in France. And then several popes after him were also French. So this was like...
That was their headquarters.
That was their headquarters.
Their French embassy.
There was like beef... They call the Romans called it something like it was like the missing time, like the French something or other. They had a derogatory term for it. Basically, when France stole our shit for a period of time. And to dissect why all of this happened, we would have to consider all sorts of political alliances and like very strong personalities and rivalries. So again, I'm not going to explain further.
But other people have. And so if this is piquing your interest, you can pop into Lucy's sources and do your own digging. We don't have time for it.
No, not today. So Clement moves the whole operation to Avignon in 1309. A total of 7 popes reigned at Avignon. Like I said, they were all French, and they were all under the influence of the French crown.
Yep.
a very French time. In 1376, Gregory XI abandoned Avignon and moved his court back to Rome.
Whoa.
Arriving in 1377. He died a year later, and then all of a sudden, guys in France and guys in Rome were claiming to be the Pope at the same time.
Uh-oh, Pope, Antipope.
Pope, Antipope. Also, two popes at once.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I mentioned that.
Double Pope.
So this is known as the Western Schism, when between September 20th, 1378 to November 11th, 1417. So a pretty good chunk of time. That's like 40 years. Bishops residing in both Rome and Avignon simultaneously claimed to be the true pope and were eventually joined by a line of peasants from Pisa also claiming to be the pope in 1409. So now there's 3 different groups that are like, no, I'm the true pope.
That's confusing. Yeah.
It's confusing, and this whole clusterfuck is like an entire season of Real Housewives.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to get into it.
I have the center diamond.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I got an apple. But this would be an excellent like British miniseries that very few people would watch, but it would still be really.
I think a lot of people would watch it. Wasn't there just one about a lot of this shit with like, who's the guy from the British guy who was in The Holiday with Cameron Diaz?
Hugh Grant?
No, not Hugh Grant.
The
not
one who
Ewan
cheated
McGregor.
with the nanny.
Yeah.
Jude Law.
Jude Law. I think he was like a pope, like a medieval pope. I don't know. Hey, Siri, what's that show with Jude Law about the Pope? The young Pope. Pope Pius the 13th.
Yeah, that takes place in modern times. He has like a cell phone and stuff.
Well, no.
Very confusing series.
Is it?
I think
so. I think it's a period piece. I remember him in a Pope outfit. The young Pope.
The Pope still wears the same clothes.
No, I know. Hold on. The new Pope is a drama series.
It's the young Pope.
But yeah, where's the young Pope?
Maybe
it is modern day. I don't know. It's not making it clear to me on the Wikipedia page.
AI says it takes place in the present day.
Fine.
Because he's the first American Pope.
Oh, okay. But Jude Law's not American.
Well, he plays an American. He's an actor.
Oh, shit. That's right.
and a liar. So.
All right. Well, whatever. Pope, whatever.
All right. So here is my last part that I promised I would get to. Today, the Holy See has a good amount of political power. Mm-hmm. Though not as much as it used to. Mm-hmm. So according to Encyclopedia Britannica, the Holy See's membership in international organizations includes the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and they have observer status in the World Health Organization, the Council of Europe, the Organization of American States, and the UN. Observer status. Its permanent observer status at the UN allows the Holy See to participate in General Assembly and Security Council meetings and debates. They can vote on procedures and they can co-sponsor draft resolutions, but it may not vote on the passage of resolutions ostensibly preserving the Holy See's neutrality and universal moral authority. So how much political power the Vatican has is...
It's not zero.
It's not zero.
It's not what it was. We know that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just the whole Vatican Pope thing.
It's wild.
Is wild. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
I could keep going with this. We could have a part 2.
Yeah.
Next Easter.
Well, yeah. This can become our Easter tradition. Is talking more about popes.
Bad popes.
Why not?
Why not? Speaking of, I'm going to drink some more of this wine while we get into your segment when we come back.
All right, let's take a quick break and then get into it. Finding a therapist is hard enough. And I feel like especially when you are looking for a therapist, when you like really need one, when you're like in crisis, it makes it so much harder. And then trying to find one who actually takes your insurance adds a whole other level of drama. And that is where most online therapy platforms fall short. Many do not work with insurance at all, which means you're stuck paying the full cost out of pocket or paying for an expensive monthly subscription.
Well, not Rula. Rula does things a little different around here. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, making the average copay just $15 a session. And this is real effective therapy. Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, which means you're going to be able to find your personalized solution, which means you are going to find someone who can cater to your particular needs, the right therapist for you based on those needs, your preferences, and state requirements. This is true end-to-end care. Rula is committed to supporting you and staying with you every step of the way on your mental health journey. They follow up. They check in on you. From finding the right therapist to helping you schedule appointments and monitoring your progress, Rula truly is there to help. They are dedicated to quality care and the progress that you make through your therapy on your mental health journey.
Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that's actually covered by insurance. Visit rula.com/gals to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. That's rula.com/gals. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go with me somewhere in your mind, okay? It's the middle of the week. You're exhausted. You don't know how you're going to get through the next 2 days to the weekend. And then on the weekend, you just got to get caught up on all the other things that you have to do. And you're tired and you're hungry and all you want is a home-cooked meal. But how could you possibly have that when all you have is 30 minutes or less to put it together? Well, I'll tell you, honey. With HelloFresh, you can cook up bold flavors from around the world without ever leaving your home and have that home-cooked meal in 30 minutes.
Oh my God, it's like magic. It's like a creative outlet, but also like holds your hand through it.
Yup.
And you end up with a delicious meal.
Mm-hmm.
So with HelloFresh, savoring new flavors from around the globe is not just delicious, it's simple, it's wholesome. It's also absolutely delicious. HelloFresh makes cooking effortless, so you can always look forward to a homemade meal. No two meals are going to be the same with HelloFresh because they have over 80 global recipes to choose from every month. So that's like Vietnamese, Moroccan, Caribbean, Mediterranean. You can try unique ingredients like lemongrass, gochujang, curry pastes. Like you can experiment with these things that you might not have cooked with
other stuff. Yes.
You might not have cooked with before. And these are all pre-portioned for you, which means you're not going to mess it up and you're not going to be left with a ton of food waste.
There are some things I've tried cooking with for the first time with HelloFresh recipes that have become like staples in my kitchen, like chili pastes and stuff like that. It's the best.
And these are like craveable foods. So you don't have to order takeout to get these like global cuisines. And let's be honest, nothing hits quite like home cooking.
So go to HelloFresh.com/gals10fm right now to get 10 free meals plus free NutriBullet Ultra Plus 2-in-1 compact kitchen system, a $189.99 value on your third box. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Disclaimer, must order the third box by May 31st, 2026. So, men are boring. So I'm going to talk about a woman who was one of the strongest influences over the papacy at a truly gnarly time. So we're going to go back to the Saeculum Obscurum, or the dark age of the papacy, and dive into this. Right? Gnarly. Dive into the story of a woman who was arguably the most successful and ruthless political player of her time.
Oh my God.
This is a quote from medievalist.net, my new favorite source. Quote, the Saeculum Obscurum began not so much with the troubled reign of Pope Formosus, 891 to 896, but was his death and subsequent trial. Yes, his corpse was put on trial by Pope Stephen VI
Death and subsequent trial.
Who reigned from 896 to a mere 897 in what is infamously called the Cadaver Synod.
Yuck.
Yeah.
I love it.
Stephen,
Speaking of Weekend at Bernie.
Right? Dig him up. We're putting him on trial.
Dig him up.
Stephen, the one who digged him up, was strangled to death a few months after he rose to power as one of many popes to be violently killed. So,
God.
This was a tumultuous time, and it's about the time our girl was born. Her estimated birth was between 890 and 892.
Wow.
Her name was Marozia, and for decades, she did not just influence the papacy, she owned it.
Okay.
She owned it with her big old vagina.
Oh, good. You love to see it.
You love to see it. Marozia was born into the powerful house of Tusculum, and her father, Theophylact, which sounds like a constipation medication or a condom company. Take your pick. I need my Theophylact. Theophylact. Now you can shit. Do not take Theophylact if you're allergic to Theophylact. So he was a Roman consul and the most powerful man in the city at the time, but it was Marozia's mother, Theodora, who truly set the stage for Marozia's rise. Theodora was a woman who, quote, exercised power on the Roman citizenry like a man.
Oh, I love her.
With her genitals.
Oh.
And was described by her enemies as, quote, the sole monarch of Rome. This era of political and amorous intrigue was so intense that historians like Edward Gibbon later referred to it as a pornocracy or the rule of the harlots.
Hey, harlots can rule just as well.
Uh-huh. One of Theodora and then subsequently Marozia's many haters, Ludeprand of Cremona, a diplomat and historian, called Theodora, quote, a shameless harlot whose very mention is most foul, who was holding the monarchy of the city of Rome and not in an unmanly way.
God, I love her.
I know, she's nuts. I don't love this, but it was a different time, and when you were 15, you were basically middle-aged, so we have to also honor that. It was year 890, whatever. 900 something. Anyway, under Theodora's watchful eye, Marozia's political education began early. At just 15 years old, she was introduced directly to Pope Sergius III, who soon took her as his mistress.
Oh, so he was married?
No.
Some of the popes had wives.
No, he was not married, and he
was married to Jesus.
He was not supposed to be. This was a scandal.
Okay.
So while this was a massive scandal, they wasn't supposed to lay with women or have children. It was exactly what Theodora wanted, allowing the family to gain massive political leverage. Because the relationship produced a bastard son, who they named John, who would eventually take the papal throne himself and become Pope John XI. Didn't have to change his name even.
Wow.
Sure, the way to get ahead on gunning for Pope for your son is to just give him a Pope name so that
John.
it's already in people's minds. He's already.
Well, and that
John.
Saves time on paperwork later on.
Oh, the admin.
The red tape.
Uh-huh. Shortly after John was born, Marozia was married off to Alberic I, the Duke of Spoleto. And the two of them had a son, Alberic II, further solidifying her status within the Roman aristocracy. By her 30s, she had earned the unprecedented titles of Senatrix and Patricia of Rome, which, according to the internet, they're kind of interchangeable, and this means that she was established in a hereditary hierarchy of the ruling class. So she's had a kid to this high-ranking duke.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's a Patricia of Rome. Will the lifeboats be seated according to class? But Marozia...
I love your Titanic stims. They're so good. They're my favorite of your stims.
Will the lifeboats be seated according to class? Is anyone alive out there? Keep checking them. And I have a child. I'm all she has are 3 things I say almost every day. Is anyone alive out there?
Keep checking them.
Keep checking them. Now, okay.
It's so morbid.
It's so
And I was
bad.
thinking those things the whole time we were in the Titanic Museum.
Yeah, while I was simultaneously sobbing and trying not to say anything inappropriate.
Oh, so hard. It was so hard not to make jokes that whole time.
I know, but my God.
To lighten the mood, you know?
Right.
It's a devastating
It's our defense
museum.
mechanism.
So cool.
It's so beautiful. Okay. But Marozia was not content with simply being a noble woman. She wanted total fucking control. Pussy control.
She's more than just a Patricia.
Mm-hmm. And when her former lover, Pope Sergius III, transitioned out of power, Pope John X took the seat in 914 and immediately began to resist her influence. He was like, she's too powerful. She's got her fingers in too many peanut butter jars. We got to cut some of these off.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, she responded in kind by marrying his sworn enemy, Guy of Tuscany. Guy of Tuscany. And launched a violent coup wherein they seized the Castle Sant'Angelo, arrested the Pope, and had him murdered, likely smothered with a pillow in his cell. What a way to go. So they overthrew, she married this guy who hated that Pope, and they anti-poped and like overthrew the government and killed him.
And now he's the Pope? Her guy?
Her guy is not the Pope because they're married. So now the seat is vacant and they get to choose, like they have influence over who's going to be the next Pope.
Nice.
So this is where Marozia becomes the ultimate puppet master. Puppets. So she, by way of Guy, installed 2 short-lived popes, Leo VI and Stephen VIII. Roman numerals are hard. To act as
we both keep pausing right before we sit. Charles the Fourth.
Yes. So she installed these guys to act as like literal seat warmers until her bastard son John was ready to take the seat, who himself was the son of a pope. So in 931, she successfully elevated her son to the papacy as Pope John XI, with her pulling the strings behind him. And she was now at the peak of her power, ruling Rome through a son who was her puppet. Marozia's influence during this time included total political control of Rome, as if other things weren't enough.
I love how that's number 1 on the list.
Well, yeah, that's the biggest one. While her son held the spiritual title, Marozia, quote, effectively ruled the papacy and held the monarchy of the city. Contemporaries noted that Rome had been subjected entirely to the power of a woman, comparing it to the biblical prophecy that, quote, women dominate Jerusalem based on some bullshit from Isaiah. So remember, it's her son who's in the throne, essentially. So this excerpt from Isaiah 3:12 that says, my people, infants are their oppressors, and women rule over them. Women shaping their children. Oh, my people, your guides, the women, mislead you, and they have swallowed up the course of your paths. So this is basically some Bible whatever quote of, it's not Jesus, but like somebody saying, the people, you're all children, and your mothers rule over you. They mislead you and have swallowed up the course of your paths, and now they're running Jerusalem. It's like a prophecy, and they're like, oh, it's happening because of puppet Marozia.
Well,
God bless.
Stay the course.
Right?
Don't, lest you be vexed by women.
Yes. So she also had imperial ambitions. It wasn't enough to just be basically seated at the right hand of the sun. She wanted basically control of like larger swaths of land and regions. And so she used her son's position to broker a high stakes political marriage with Hugh of Arles, Hugh Jars, who at the time was the
We've got Guy, we've got Hugh.
Hugh, who was the king of Italy in 932 when they married them. And we'll get to how that went. So her primary objective was to marry this king. She essentially becomes queen of Italy, and then her son, John XI, by decree of the papacy, of being the pope, could bestow the titles of emperor and empress upon her and her new husband as a wedding gift, which would have formally consolidated her power over like the broader West.
Cool. This is dastardly.
It is so dastardly, and I'm kind of living for it.
Yeah.
One of her aspirations was also regional stability. She continued the longstanding tradition of her family, the Theophylact clan, in, quote, maintaining stability within Rome and the patrimonium, the lands of the papacy. Patronomium. During a period of otherwise extreme chaos, what we already talked about, the saeculum obscurum. Shit was all over the place. It was gnarly. She's trying to maintain some stability throughout the region.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted control of strategic fortresses. So Marozia, she ended up residing in and ruling from that Castle Sant'Angelo, where they had like Antipopes and overthrown.
Took over?
Yeah, where she married Guy, who was that guy's enemy, and then they killed him. So she stayed there. Guy dies. She marries Hugh, king of Italy, and she can't keep that, you know, not just nice place, but that safe place to live unless she and her family are in power. She also wanted secular dominance over the church. So her reign marked a historic low point for the independence of the papacy. So she was like, hold on, I could kind of have both, knowing that the secular governance is becoming more popular than the papal governance.
Okay.
So she ensured that the Roman aristocracy, or what she was trying to do, rather than the traditional church bureaucracy, maintained complete secular control over the city's affairs, which was a departure from the overarching rule that the papacy had maintained previously. So she was starting to like get wise that like times they are a changin'.
Yeah.
And being in control of not just the godly side of it, but also like the gubernatorial side of it is going to be key.
Yeah, she needs the seculars.
All of this ruffled feathers, obviously, and Marozia's final gamble of marrying that king proved to be her undoing. So, after her husband Guy dies, and they had their son, what's his face? We'll get to him, Alberic. But he died, and she wanted to use her son, the bastard son, John's, that she had with that pope, papal seat to become an empress. First, she'd have to marry a royal, so she snags Hugh of Arles, king of Italy.
Okay.
Then her boy John can essentially crown them emperor and empress of Rome as that wedding gift, but she seemed to forget that she had another son.
Yeah.
And if not forget, she certainly underestimated who she had deemed to be the less powerful Alberic II.
Oh, no.
So he showed her exactly the kind of power he could dish out.
Her own son?
Her own son.
Wow.
During the wedding festivities at Castle Sant'Angelo in 932, a quarrel broke out between Alberic II and Hugh, his new stepdaddy. It's some real Game of Thrones shit.
This is getting juicy. Yeah.
That hater, Ludebrand of Cremona, described it thusly, quote, Alberic, at his mother's request, was pouring water so that King Hugo, his new stepfather, that is, could wash his hands. He was hit in the face by him as a reprimand because he would not pour the water moderately and carefully. Therefore, okay, so Hugo hits Alberic II because Alberic II spilled the water or was like cunty about pouring the water into his hand-washing basin.
Okay.
Therefore, this man, Alberic II, so that he might avenge the offense against himself, gathered together the Romans and addressed them with a speech like this. The dignity of the Roman city is led to such depths of stupidity that it now obeys the command of a prostitute.
Oh.
For what is more lurid and what is more debased than the city of Rome should perish by the impurity of one woman, and the one-time slaves of the Romans, the Burgundians, I mean, should rule the Romans. If he hits my face, that is, the face of his stepson, and what is more, when he is a recently arrived guest, what do you think he will do to you as soon as he has settled in?
Well, he's got a point.
I mean, sure. So yeah, Alberic II used the moment to incite a rebellion, calling his mom a hoe in front of everybody and urging the Romans to overthrow the foreign bullshit rule that she had just married into
at their wedding.
With the intention of crowning herself supreme leader. So yeah, it was kind of like a red wedding situation.
Totally.
Nobody died as far as I could find, but
the
Romans,
probably indirectly.
Probably. The Romans were definitely moved by what Alberic was saying. Like, we're going to let this dick and, like, his kingdom of Burgundians, their wine isn't even that good. That's not true. Burgundy wine is incredible. But yeah, run our shit. So the Romans were like, bet, and stormed the fortress. New hubby Hugh escaped out a window, literally shimmying down the castle wall with a fucking rope, like a little rat.
My God.
So he's like, I'm out. But Marozia and her valuable son, Pope John XI, were captured.
Her valuable son.
They were not executed, but I would say definitely worse. She and her son, Pope John XI, spent the rest of their lives in a dungeon. She made it 5 years. She died around 937. And John XI remained the Pope until his death, but was stripped all temporal power as Alberic II became the new secular ruler of Rome and governed through a series of his own puppet popes after John XI's death 2 years after his imprisonment. So he died in 935 and his mom, Marozia, died in 937. So he died within 5 years of being captured. She died 5 years later. Alberic II ruled the city for more than 20 years, and on his deathbed, he ensured that his son Octavian would become the next pope, and he did. Octavian became Pope John XII, serving from 955 to 964, and his legacy was sus.
Uh-oh.
John XII would be remembered as one of the most depraved popes in history, famously turning the Vatican into a brothel and gambling away church funds.
Oh, no, that's not a good look.
And that guy is actually who I was looking at to cover, because I was like, this is insane. When I found his grandmother, Marozia, I was like, oh, fuck, she's way more interesting.
Yeah.
And went there instead. So I was going to pick just like, I literally Googled who is the worst pope of all time. And there were a bunch of really funny, like kind of listicle style articles of like ranked the worst popes of all time. And this guy was like consistently at the top. So if we do a reboot, if we do a round 2 for next Easter, I'll cover specifically Pope John XII because I want to know how he turned the Vatican into a brothel.
Okay, so he was her
grandson.
Her
son, Alberic II's son.
But Alberic became the Pope, or Alberic became the...
So Marozia married Alberic I.
Yeah.
After she had already had the bastard son, John.
Yep.
With the other Pope.
Yeah.
Marozia and Alberic I have Alberic II, and that was a political marriage. He was like a duke or whatever. Alberic I dies. Marozia marries Guy because the Pope that was in power then, a different John or Stephen or whatever, was like, hold on, you have too much political influence here. I'm questioning you. And she's like, Guy is your mortal enemy. I'm going to marry him. They don't have any kids. And like he dies, whatever. She marries Hugh, the King Hugo.
Okay.
And Hugo is shitty to Alberic II at the wedding. And Alberic II was already pissed about this marriage because he thought it gave his stepmom, who he doesn't like, too much control. So he freaks out at the wedding, overthrows basically everything, and appoints, he takes over as leader of Rome. And he helps appoint puppet popes.
Okay.
And then he appoints, on his deathbed, he ensures that his own son, Octavian, Marozia's grandson, would become pope. And he was made Pope John XII.
All the Johns.
I know.
All the Johns are honestly throwing me off.
I know, because there's like a real John who stayed a John as Pope John. And then there's Octavian who becomes the next Pope John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 Albrechts. One is too many.
It's too much. So yeah, Marozia's story is a testament to a woman who certainly mastered the brutal politics of the 10th century using literally what her mama gave her. Historian Paul Collins wrote about her saying, quote, "An extraordinary woman, her importance lies not in her paramours, but in the fact that she continued the tradition of the Theophylact clan in maintaining stability in Rome and the patrimonium. Oh my God. Patrimonium. I'm going to die. She understood that the sexual was political and was able to use this to her advantage in a patriarchal world. Obviously beautiful and alluring to men, she was also intelligent, strong-willed, and independent like her mother."
I love her.
Isn't she cool?
Yes.
She's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, she ruled.
She's brutal. She's kind of Cersei-ish.
She was connected either by like blood or marriage to something like 7 popes, including like popes that she had appointed, popes her son, like Alberic I appointed, her own her son and her grandson were both sitting popes. It didn't go great. You know, her son didn't like do anything, majorly egregious. She just wanted the political influence basically over both the secular and the church to keep things stable. Whatever. What is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I think she was thirsty for power for sure. And a matriarchal power does tend to look a little bit different. And one of her key objectives was stability during this really tumultuous time for like her region.
She achieved it.
And she did the best she could.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Largely.
I'm not
better
saying
than if someone else was doing it.
Right. Not saying she was like a good person, but she was most certainly a complex and fascinating person. So.
Yeah.
Viva Marozia.
Viva Marozia.
So yeah, that's what I got for you for Papacy.
Wow, this was a fun episode.
This was a very fun episode, and we definitely could do a part 2, but we're at like coming up on 2 hours, and John's going to kill us, so we can't.
I'm going to add this to our Will Circle Back list.
Yes.
Papacy Crimes 2.
P2, The Mighty Ducks.
Okay, well, thank you so much for listening, and as always, come join us on Uncorked. We have a really good time with a new perk we just added, which was the free live streams at $10 a month or more. So yeah, go check that out. Go to wineandcrimepodcast.com/uncorked. And happy Easter.
Indeed.
To those who observe, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Like what you see? Check out more episodes and become a member to unlock exclusive content.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.